For our first card, this represents Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, and Cancer Risings. So here we have the Eight of Coins in the reverse position. So to me, this automatically suggests that a lot of you guys are definitely dealing with some issues at work. Now, this can manifest in several different ways. Sometimes this can be union type of disagreements. Sometimes this can be like a labor dispute. A lot of times this card is about us not having the proper tools to get our job done the right way. It's almost like sometimes our employer could give us a project or an assignment where it can look pretty impossible to complete, so to speak, on first look. You're just like, how am I supposed to do this? It's almost like they're setting you up for the impossible. Not that it can't be done, it's just you don't have the right tools or the right equipment or the right software or whatever it may be. We're lacking something. Now, sometimes this can indicate that, maybe we're just tired of the conditions that we're in. Maybe we don't feel like we are being valued at our job. And sometimes we can just be like, well, I'm going to do as little as I can to get by because I'm just over this place. I'm tired of not being appreciated. I'm tired of being, taken advantage of. So this would definitely be indicating some issues at work. Oh, I wish this card were in the upright position, but, it is what it is. But sometimes, more times than not, this card is definitely indicating that you should definitely start looking for different work, a different job entirely. You could go after a job that you could use your skill set and your abilities for, or you could actually decide to go in a completely different way. Some of you may decide to go learn some new skills because the present job situation just, it's not good. Not good. There's just unhappiness. And sometimes it can just feel like a non-productive situation. And a lot of times this can indicate that we're not receiving that steady income or profit, or it is delayed, and that can become extremely frustrating. So we clarify, and we have the Seven of Swords in the reversed. So this can definitely indicate that, one, someone could have taken something from you. Someone could have stolen something from you. A lot of times plagiarism can come up with this card in the upright or reversed position, okay? Because this man is taking 5 swords, but yet he is leaving 2 behind as evidence that something has been taken, okay? Now, sometimes this can indicate that someone may have lied to you. So there could be a betrayal or a deception. Sometimes with this card, an apology can be forthcoming, where someone will be like, hey, I did this, I'm really sorry. So for some, you might actually get an apology from someone that did something wrong to you, whether they stole from you or whether they lied to you. You could receive an apology for what they did. Now, sometimes we don't receive an apology. And sometimes they just continue to try to make our life hell. Unfortunately. And I wasn't even thinking about it, but I definitely know someone in a situation like this. Just hit me. But yes, these can be issues. I mean, just know that if you go through this, I mean, you can forgive the person if you feel that they deserve forgiveness, if you feel that they won't do it again, by all means, but you really need to be careful. Sometimes this card can indicate unfaithfulness, but, this is about a work situation, so. But, that could still play into work. Maybe perhaps they might be giving someone else the better work and they might be giving you some work that is not so great. Kind of like bias and favoritism. Yeah. Now, anytime I see this card, especially in the reverse position, I always like to warn everyone. And please, when it comes to your home and your vehicle, play it safe. And your work, for that matter. Say you might be writing a book or something, or whatever it may be. Keep these things under lock and key. Especially your home. Make sure all your windows are locked. Make sure that there are no cracks or crevices where an intruder might be able to get in. Some of us, we live in great neighborhoods. We've not ever had to worry about things like this. But sometimes this can happen. So, just a warning. It's just a need to be a bit more extra cautious in our environment, because we do not want someone to literally break into our house or break into our car. Now, for some of you, this could have already happened, or this could be, someone invading your work, taking your work, possibly taking credit for your work. Okay, so this would be your circumstances. So here we have the Five of Cups in the reversed position. So this shows that you guys have been through a loss and a disappointment, and you are now in the process of beginning to heal from it. So with this card, your confidence is returning, and a lot of times when we find this card, we're ready to go out and enjoy life. We're ready to make some new friends. Sometimes with this card, some old acquaintances can come back into our life, so that's always a possibility. Also with this card, sometimes this can indicate a new job opportunity could be on the horizon. It could be a new job opportunity. It could be a new relationship opportunity. Many different things, but at least we're not stuck in the loss and in the disappointment. We need to move forward. We need to allow our confidence to be renewed, and hey, good things will start to happen. There's always hope, and even though we go through a loss, it is tough. But we just got to kind of pick up our bootstraps and keep moving, Okay, so we clarify, and we have the Four of Coins. So some of you may not be moving on so easily. Even though you have this wonderful energy of being able to move forward, maybe some of you are still clinging to that loss, to that disappointment that occurred in your past. So some of you are definitely still hanging on. Now, for some of you, this loss and disappointment could have been around your finances or your job. Now, typically, this is a very good financial card. It's one where we are financially stable, we are secure. That is what we're working towards every single day. Sometimes a little bit of greediness can come up with this card, but it's not out of being mean-spirited. It's being out of, hey, I had to work my ass off to get what money I have, so I'm not just going to hand it out freely to just anybody. So, again, it can indicate some greediness, stinginess, but it's not always, from a malicious type of motivation, You just had to work hard to get it, so you're not going to just hand it out. And, hey, the way things are these day and ages, we're hanging on to even our pennies, so. But, yeah, to me, I'm looking at this like, I think some of you are still trying to hang on. You're still clinging to this loss that you went through when you should be healing. The energy is saying it's time to heal. It's time to let go. It's time to move on, move forward. Let's go have fun. Let's make friends. Let's find new opportunities. But the Four of Coins could also be indicating that absolutely there is a job offer, a job opportunity that will most definitely come your way. So, sorry, I like to throw many different things out here because every Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising is different. We all want, different things. We're all on our own journey, so, and that's okay. We're not all exactly the same. Okay, so this would be our focus position. Here we have the Ten of Swords. So, yeah, not the greatest energy. I mean, when we look at this card, this man, he's literally got 10 swords in his back. You can even see the blood. And those crows. Oof. Okay. Well, this can sometimes be straightforward and literal. Sometimes you can literally feel like you've been stabbed in the back by someone. Now, this is a karmic ending. So, a karmic cycle has been completed for you. That sounds painful, but I mean, it is, but it helps us to clear the slate so that we get that new start without any karma associated with it. So, it does have a positive side, even though it's really hard to see it. But this card is definitely one of pain, despair, loss. I mean, it's not the greatest. But you must realize that anything that comes to an end, it's coming to an end for a very good reason, okay? Because even though we may not be able to see it, in the grand scheme of things, it's actually holding us back. It's preventing us from being able to further our personal growth. So we've basically outlived a certain situation, and this situation has come to an end, okay? So you need to realize that, yes, this can be very upsetting, very painful for some, but it was necessary. Sometimes this can indicate, someone gets a divorce. Sometimes this can indicate that we lose our job. Sometimes this can indicate that we've literally been stabbed in the back, that we've experienced a betrayal. Now, no matter what it is, something comes to an end, okay? And this is a karmic cycle completing, and at the end of it, we are able to have a clean slate so that we can start over again without any karma. So, like I said, I know it sounds negative, but there is a positive to it. Okay, so we clarify we have the Hanging Man. So the Hanging Man is about sacrifice and change, okay? So sometimes we contemplate actually making sacrifices that we've never made in our life. Sometimes we're looking at a complete reversal of lifestyle, but it's something that we're willing to accept and deal with. Sometimes we don't have a choice. We just have to deal with it. But for some of us, we're just like, you know what? I just want the hell out of this situation. Whatever. I'll deal with it, So, but any change that the Hanging Man actually leads you to will be one that is far better. The Hanged Man is also about walking away from what is known and what is familiar. And so we're walking in our new direction, which is, unknown, but we're walking into a new direction with faith. Faith, okay? And trust me, this is much better. So whatever you've had to sacrifice, whatever you might have lost, this is all about us moving forward. And we're getting that new start. We're getting that new direction. And it's really for the best, but sometimes it can be a bummer because sometimes we have to sacrifice a lot. And I'm still feeling that for a lot of you, this is definitely work. But, not all of you. Some of you, this is work, relationships. For some, it's home life, personal life. Okay. So this is the recent past. So we have the Nine of Wands. So in the recent past, you were definitely standing on the defense. You were probably having to defend yourself. Maybe you were defending yourself, your family, your friends. Maybe you were even defending your values, your beliefs, whatever it may be. You see, this man, he's got a cut on his head. But look at him. He's like totally fierce. He's like, do you really think this cut on my head's going to stop me? It's not. And this is just indicative of we've already been wounded. Not necessarily a physical wound, but, you know, we've already been wounded in a situation and we're still not backing down. We are standing our ground and we're going to defend ourselves, our values, our beliefs, our family, our friends if we have to. You're not going to push us around. That's this type of energy. Ooh, okay. So we clarify, we have the Justice card in reverse. So, yeah, it makes total sense why you guys were like, hey, I'm not backing down. You might have wounded me. You might have got me, but I'm not going down. You're not going to take me down. Ooh. Just know that karma, she never comes up in reverse, okay? And karma's always watching. I always say karma's the bitch that never sleeps. Some people may get tired of hearing me say that, but hey, this is the truth. And karma will get those who do us wrong. They will. The Justice card in reverse, this can indicate bias. This can indicate corruption. This can indicate corruption within the legal system. So a judge, prosecutor, a lawyer, sometimes even the police officers. Sometimes this can indicate discrimination, racism. Things are just very unethical and corrupted when the Justice card is in reverse. But like I said, karma, she never comes in reverse. So just know that karma will have your back. Absolutely. May not always feel like it, but she's got your back. Okay, so this would be the present energy, the here, the now energy. So we have the Hierophant in the reverse position. So the Hierophant in reverse, these would be things that are unconventional, non-traditional. The Rebel, maybe some of you are definitely ready to break away from the pack and you're ready to march to the beat of your own drum rather than everybody else's. This is a card of also about conforming. And when it's in the reverse position, we're saying, hell no, I'm not conforming. I'm not going to fall in line and just do what everybody else is doing, you know. And sometimes we have to break away from the pack, you know. Sometimes we got to blaze our own trail, and that's okay. But for some, this can indicate that maybe you might be being a little bit rebellious. Maybe you're doing something you wouldn't have never dreamed of. Maybe you're behaving quite differently. This type of energy can also be like the, the hippies. This can also be one of like the bohemian free love. Yeah. This card can also indicate, like, especially regarding romantic relationships, this can be someone that's like, I'm not trying to get married. I don't want that legal paper. We can have a relationship and we can be committed and we can live like we're married, but we're not going to actually literally get married. We don't need that legal paper. Yeah. Okay, so we clarified and we have the Hermit in the reverse position. So this can definitely indicate that perhaps you were given advice from someone else, or perhaps you're not listening to your own higher mind that's trying to give you advice and trying to tell you, do this, you shouldn't do that. This is like wisdom disregarded. And it was good wisdom, it was good advice, and we did not listen to it. Now, unfortunately, this is the present position, so, No crying over spilt milk now. There's not much we can do about it except for learn from our lessons. And don't ever ignore your gut feeling. Don't ever ignore your intuition, that inner voice, okay? It is there for a very good reason. The moment that we second guess it, that's where we lose it. That's where we get ourselves into trouble. So maybe some of you have definitely went against your better judgment and you broke out of the pack, so to speak. You've decided to go your own way. That may work, it may not work. For some of you it will, for some of you it could cause more problems. Like I said, we're all different, we're all on our own individual journeys, and that's okay, you know. Not every one of us want the same thing. Yeah, we got similar characteristics here and there, but you know, that doesn't mean we all want the same thing. So